Hey, welcome to another episode of Flea Market Fantasy, the world's second greatest Bronze Age era comic book podcast. Now, usually joining me is our old pal Kevin Jank, new Michael, Kevin Jank there. Sadly, Jank is having to step away from the show for a little bit, taking a little break. And so to fill in for him, we went to our old buddy Bob Myers. Bob, are you there?
I am. We're scraping the bottom of the barrel here, but I'm here.
Yeah. Yeah. See, here's the thing. Jank, I'm starting to feel like the guest hosts on the show are like Spinal Tap drummers. Just keep dropping out.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Jank's going to have to take a little break. I don't want to talk about too much on the air, but let's just say this. There's a routine traffic stop, and when the cops opened his trunk, nothing but dead hookers. So, it could be a while. But I have my best attorney working on it now to get him out. But hopefully Jank will be back soon. I think we'll keep the show going. We'll see how it goes. We'll play it by ear. But Bob's kind enough to fill in this week, so we can finish out this issue that Jank picked at the end of last episode. It was a parting gift by Kevin Jank.
Yeah, it was really very kind of him.
He chose Justice League, issue 5 from 1987.
Now, I'm curious, and we can get into it when we get into it, but did he give a reason why he chose this issue?
Because he hates me.
Oh, well, that makes sense, yeah.
No, he says this issue, Batman punches Green Lantern, Guy Gardner, and knocks him out with one punch. And apparently, Jank says that's an iconic moment in DC Comics. So, Bob, do you have any, like, when he said he's picking Justice League, and this was issue 5 or whatever, I was like, wait, what? What year is this? Is this like the 1960s? No. So I had no idea there was another what was the original was that Justice League of America? Is that what that was?
I honestly don't know.
Yeah, this is the problem.
I'm a terrible fill-in because I don't know DC.
Yeah, this is the problem.
I don't know Justice League.
At least when Mike L was here, he knew all this crap, you know? But
yeah,
I don't know.
Like Mike L was a DC expert, and Jank's knows a lot about comics and certainly more about DC than I do. Me, I'm like DC. I don't know or care. I can tell that this is post-crisis, obviously, and they're reforming the Justice League, but I don't know why.
Yes, that's exactly why they did it. After the events of Crisis on Infinite Earths and the Legends crossover, I never heard of the Legends crossover.
No idea on that one.
Yeah, I don't know what that is either. DC wanted a new Justice League. But heroes like Superman, Flash, and Wonder Woman were exclusive to other projects. Like that was the time when John Byrne had Superman locked down, and I think George Perez may have been doing Wonder Woman. So they needed to come up with a new team. So they said, all right, we'll take that Batman guy. Everybody loves Batman, and we'll build a team around Batman. And these are the members of the new Justice League we're dealing with here today. Tell me your thoughts. I'll just say the name, and you give me your thoughts there, Bob. All right?
All right.
All right. All right, we have Batman, jerk, right? That's the first word that comes to mind.
I mean, I like Batman, but you're right, he is a jerk.
Black Canary.
I got no problem with Black Canary. Does she even have superpowers? I honestly don't know.
Yeah, we've talked about this on the show before, because I thought she was Mike, you'll explain this to me. But what do they see in DC? They don't call them mutants. They call them something else.
Yeah, I don't remember what they call them.
I can't remember what. Metahumans, I think.
That sounds right, yeah.
Sounds right. And I guess she can scream really loud.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
That's something.
That's what you want. That's what you want to base a book around. Someone who can scream really loud. Next up, we have Blue Beetle.
Wow. The less said about Blue Beetle, the better.
Yeah, he's terrible. Good Lord.
I mean, that's going to be a recurring theme here.
Oh, Black Canary, though. When I was a kid, I always liked Black Canary. She always wore fishnets.
That's true. I mean, yeah, like I can get behind it.
Because, well, you didn't mean that in the way it sounded.
No,
but
terrible.
Also, but yeah, when I was a kid, because I read some DC, so I grew out of that. Most people should. Next up, we have Booster Gold.
Is he even in this book? I don't remember Booster Gold.
Yeah, I don't know. He may have been.
He may have been. I don't.
No idea.
I didn't. If he was, I didn't pay enough attention. He wasn't impressive enough for me to even remember.
Then we have Captain Marvel, old Shazam. Captain Marvel.
I got nothing against Shazam. I saw part of the Shazam movie and it was entertaining.
Oh.
So
I did not see that.
I mean, it's more of a kid's movie, but it was fine. But yeah, I mean, it's Shazam. It's whatever.
Now we have Dr. Fate.
I don't know enough about Dr. Fate to judge Dr. Fate. And I don't think he says like 2 lines in this whole comic, so I can't really judge Dr. Fate.
Well, he's
got
in
a cool
here
helmet.
A good bit.
I mean, he's in here a good bit. He just doesn't say anything.
Yeah, that's true. He's just floating around a lot, I guess.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I liked Dr. Fate. He's got a cool look.
Yeah, I like the look of Dr. Fate. Like the little I know about him, he seems like he's probably entertaining, but couldn't make any distinction in this book.
And we do have a previous Mike L made us do Blue Beetle, Booster Gold, and Dr. Fate over the years. So if you go back to the archives, we have episodes for all of them. But Dr. Fate, he channels his power through the Ankh symbol. Yeah.
Gotta love a good Ankh.
Yeah. Next up, we have Guy Gardner. This is a Green Lantern, but this is after the other guy, Green Lantern. I guess there was Hal Jordan, then I think Jon Stewart, right? That was his name, not the Comedy Central guy. The other Jon Stewart. And then Guy Gardner came in. I was reading his history. Here's the problem with DC is they all have like 7 backstories.
Yes.
And I was trying to read. Guy Gardner's first appearance was Green Lantern 59 in 1968. I had no idea he went all the way back then.
No, yeah. I don't even really want to understand all the history of the Green Lanterns and how that works, to be honest with you. I was going to ask him, I was like, you know what? That's more than I need to know.
Well, he was originally created by John, I think, Broome, if I wrote that down properly, but I don't know. That sounds like I didn't. Is his name really? But anyway, maybe his name is John Broome. And then Gil Kane, I like Gil Kane. But then in the 1980s, Steve Englehart and Joe Staton like redid the character. They completely revolutionized the character.
Okay.
And changed everything about him. They gave him that little Mo Howard haircut.
I was going to mention the haircut. Did they turn him into a total asshole? Was that also their shtick?
That was also their gimmick. And so they made him a jerk. And then Englehart was mad, though, because he says if he had to do it all over again, he wouldn't have done any of it. Because DC, after they like basically created Guy Gardner in the 1980s, DC said, oh, wait a minute, though. You know what? This character actually dates back to 1968. Because he had only appeared sporadically, like maybe 3 times or something. And they're like, oh, you know what? But this character actually, that's when it was created. So guess what, Steve Englehart and Joe Staton? You're not getting any royalties off this character. You know what I mean? Like they didn't share any ownership with him.
Of course.
So Steve Englehart said, fuck that. I wish I never would have created him. So there you go.
So I'll say this real briefly, even though we're not to the cover yet. The cover of this says Batman vs. Guy Gardner Showdown. Now, I didn't know Guy Gardner was a Green Lantern. So when I read that, I'm like, who is Guy Gardner and why is he facing Batman? Yeah. This isn't exciting.
We're definitely the wrong guys to be talking about a DC book.
Quite clearly.
Has any idea who these people are? Next up, we have Martian Manhunter. Now, I know him because the DC cartoons. I've seen him in there.
Mm-hmm.
You know? He's a space monkey, and he can change shapes and stuff, right? Is that his
yeah. I don't know a ton about his personality, but he's a cool character. Yeah. Far more cool than most of these people.
Yes, exactly. And then finally, we have Mr. Miracle. And we've done Mr. Miracle on this show before. One of the worst episodes we've ever reviewed. First year, maybe around episode 5 or 6 of the show. It's just terrible. Mike L. loved Mr. Miracle. He's terrible, right? I mean, it's just
full on terrible.
So that's the team. That's who we're dealing with.
That is your cast of heroes.
It's like who's who? Who's that? These are all no one cares about these people, and they put them in a team. This is supposed to be your marquee team. This is your Justice League,
right? And we'll get into it, but clearly a terrible Justice League as well, just from a team dynamic.
Yeah, it's horrible, and only one lady.
Yeah, not well done here, DC. But, I mean, it looked like this, and you probably did research on this, but they renamed it to Justice League International, but it looked like it ran for a long time.
Well, with issue 7, this became Justice League International. That lasted until issue 25. Then in May of 1989, it was renamed Justice League of America. Not of America, Justice League America. And ended.
They stopped protecting the world. They're like, let's just focus on America
let's just focus
again.
on America. Well, actually, there's a reason they did that. But that series ran into issue 113 in August of 1996. So even though it was just one series that lasted 113 issues, 3 titles.
Yeah. That's just right in line with DC, though.
Yes, it is. And the reason it was renamed Justice League America, because at that same time they also started Justice League Europe.
Please tell me you have the list of who's in Justice League Europe.
I do not.
Oh.
But if I'm going off my memory, Metamorpho is in there. I like that guy. He's pretty cool. Elongated Man.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then a bunch of people I don't even know. I think Animal Man, maybe. Wow. It's not a good team. So, I don't know. But I'm sure there's DC readers out there who are outraged right now.
I know. Yeah, we've lost. Well, if there were big DC fans listening to this show, they gave up long ago.
I should hope so. The creative team here is Keith Giffen is the plotter and the art. Oh, he was a plotter and an artist, but for this issue, he's the plotter. J.M. DeMatteis is the scripter here, and the artist is a fellow named Kevin McGuire. Now, Keith Giffen, let's just give you the backgrounds on them here at the top. He was born in 1952, Queens, New York. His first published work was the Sword and the Star backstory in Marvel Preview issue 4. Now, we just did that issue a couple months ago.
Oh.
Kevin Jank, that was the first appearance of Star-Lord.
Oh, yeah, okay.
From 1976. Remember, there's that backstory. We were looking at it like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
He's the guy that did that.
Okay.
So congratulations, Keith Giffen, on doing that. He co-created Rocket Raccoon with Bill Mantlo in Marvel Preview issue 7. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
He co-created this Justice League series with J.M. DeMatteis, and they wrote issues 1 through 60, and they also did Justice League Europe 1 through 35. So,
ooh. Imagine writing 90 issues of this.
He also created Lobo.
Oh.
Like I've heard of Lobo. Yeah.
I don't know Lobo, but I've heard of Lobo, so it's like,
yeah,
he did something. He's created some characters people know.
Yeah, like I know what he is. I just don't know anything about him. And Ambush Bug. Did you ever hear of Ambush Bug?
I don't know Ambush Bug, but I'm sure he's spectacular.
That's something else he did. But again, this guy's also an artist, and he's drawn a bunch of shit. He's written a bunch. So yeah, he's done it all. The scripter here we mentioned is J.M. DeMatteis doing all the dialogue and whatnot. We've talked about him in the past. I believe the first time we talked about him on here was a Ghost Rider issue way back in the first year of Flea Market Fantasy. But he also did some Spider-Man stuff, I believe, like Web of Spider-Man maybe, possibly. I don't know. He did a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like he's done a bunch of books.
Yeah. So the artist is Kevin McGuire. Have you ever heard of Kevin McGuire?
I don't. Maybe. The name doesn't ring a bell, but maybe.
See, I didn't know who he was, but apparently he's somewhat famous. Born in 1960 in New Jersey, his first credited professional work was in the Official Handbook of the Marvel Universe, Volume 2, Number 6, in 1986. And that's when they would just bring in different artists to draw those character profile pictures and stuff. Mm-hmm. He has 181 penciling credits at DC, including 21 of the first 24 issues and issue 60 of this here Justice League series.
All right.
So he was the main guy, and then he came back for issue 60, which was the final issue for Keith Giffen and J.M. DeMatteis. So they brought the band back together for issue 60. But here's the thing that you may have heard of. Do you remember in 2008, Seth Meyers and Bill Hader wrote a Spider-Man book called Spider-Man: The Short Halloween? Did you hear that?
I've heard of it. I've not read it though.
Yeah, I've not either. But I do remember when that happened. I remember hearing that Seth Meyers and Bill Hader wrote a comic book. Well, Kevin McGuire was the artist on that book because he is Seth Meyers' favorite artist.
Oh, okay.
How about that?
That's
something.
That's something. I mean,
the
I don't
guy
know that
who
I'm.
The guy who used to be relevant because he sat next to Tina Fey likes this guy's art.
Exactly. It's like, I don't know that I care that much what Seth Meyers cares about, but I mean, he's someone's favorite artist, so that's something.
That was one of my favorite things, a Norm Macdonald clip. Someone asked him, because I guess he said something and Seth Meyers was upset about something Norm said. And maybe Seth said something I wouldn't have said it. And then Norm says, oh yeah, it's just I was wondering, what would Seth Meyers do? That's what anyway. All right. So that's the creative team behind this here book. So I guess that's something to look forward to. Oh, there's one other character that pops up in here, the Creeper.
Yes. Who I had to look up when we got there, because I'm like, who is this guy? So
yeah,
he's not the Joker. I established that.
Yeah, he very similar looks though, I guess. When I was a younger lad, my uncle gave me a bunch of his old comic books. And I was looking through them one day and I found this old Aquaman book. And then in the back of it, there's a backstory with the Creeper. So I've been familiar with the Creeper for a while, but I did not know that, he was Jack Ryder, the newscaster in this issue.
Yeah, no, I didn't pick up on that either until I was reading about it. I was like, wait, that's the same guy? You guys did a poor job of this.
Yes. Unless you went in with that knowledge, you would have no idea that news crew and the Creeper is one in the same. So his first appearance was Showcase 73, 1968, created by Steve Ditko and Don Siegel. How about that? And he was an investigative journalist who was doing some study or some report on some doctor who came up with these nanocell technology or something like that. And he tried to go in and from the description it says that Jack Ryder went in to steal the formula. That sounds weird.
Yeah.
Like a journalist would be stealing. So I don't know what that means exactly. But then the mob caught him or something, and because the mob was working with his doctor, so maybe he was trying to steal it away from the mob. Maybe that makes sense. But then they injected him with the nanocells, and that turned him into the Creeper.
The mob injected him with the nanocells?
Yeah, like the mob and the doctor. I think they...
Just to be dicks?
Yeah, I guess they were trying to see if they worked or whatever.
All right.
They needed to experiment, maybe. I'm just piecing things together from Wikipedia. Yeah. I have no idea.
So does he have powers?
I guess he creeps.
I'm not sure that's a power. I know some people.
He just follows you on Instagram without saying it. I don't know. He's very flamboyant. He dresses in an all yellow costume with like a red boa and he jumps around. It seems like he's very agile because he's climbing a tree like a monkey in this one. And, also like maybe enhanced strength and, agility, that kind of stuff, you know, but, yeah.
Right.
That's all I know about him.
Well, that's more than I knew.
He also has like green hair, right?
Yeah, green hair and yellow skin, except when he's a newscaster, so I guess he can totally change his appearance back and forth.
That's
so
I'm
a little curious what causes him to change into the Creeper. Is it just whenever he feels like it?
Yes, he can control it now. Like he can I guess those nanocells morph his body into. So.
All right.
And again, I'm just, I'm playing fast and loose here with the facts.
I mean,
I don't know.
That's all we can do at this point.
I don't know how many Creeper fans are out there. I'm sure we'd like to hear from you if you're out there.
All right, so let's show people or write some comments somewhere. Let us know.
Yeah, no one ever does. So let's look at the cover. It had to happen, like you mentioned earlier. Batman versus Guy Gardner showdown. 75
Yeah, people were gearing up for this one. Very excited for this fight, I'm sure.
It's a very simple cover. The background's like a dark red, and right front and center we have Guy Gardner staring at us with his teeth clenched, and he's all angry. His little Mo Howard haircut. And then we have Shazam and Martian Manhunter like trying to hold him back. Like Guy Gardner's coming right at the camera, coming right at you. He wants to get you.
They're holding him back. Go.
Are you intimidated by this?
I mean, I might be if it wasn't for the haircut. The haircut undermines the whole thing.
That was a bold fashion choice. I believe from one of his many backstories, that's what I was going to say before. I was trying to piece together how he became Green Lantern, and I still have no idea. No idea. But apparently when he was a kid, he looked up to some superhero, and the superhero's sidekick had that haircut. So he wears that haircut in tribute to the superhero's sidekick. That's from what I gathered.
That's always a good move.
Yeah. How do you feel about this cover there, Bob?
I mean, the cover's fine. I mean, other than the haircut, it looks like a guy who's ready to fight and being held back. So had I known the story coming into it, I would be like, okay, yeah, they're going to go. This is going to be good. It's not a thrilling cover, but it does the job. The background's very boring, but.
Yeah, it's Kevin McGuire, inked by Terry Austin here. Austin does not do the book, but he does do the cover. It's a fine cover. I guess it's arresting if you see this guy Gardner. I'd like to take another swing at that left arm of his though.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, he's missing the middle part of his arm. Is basically what's happening.
Yeah, and even just like tilt it maybe inward a little bit to make it more natural. It's very flat, stiff. I don't know. So anyway, but that's the cover. I think Shazam looks a little like Elvis.
A little bit. They've all got dark ear canals, which stuck out to me for some reason. It looks like they're all wearing earbuds.
But look at Martian Manhunter's vascularity on his forearm. He's been hitting the weights.
He really has.
Yeah.
That's probably unhealthy.
So, all right, Bob. Well, let's open up the book. Why don't you get us into the story here? Because I'm sure you're dying to talk about this.
Oh, for sure. So we open up in Stone Ridge, Vermont, and it's being described as a small gray town, gray people, gray lives, gray deaths, and there's a car crash, and basically there's just this mopey guy talking about how everyone is gray. Turns out he's the Gray Man.
The Gray Man.
Yeah.
He's the villain in this issue.
The villain, I suppose. Did you know who the Gray Man was coming into this?
No.
Okay.
Clue. And I guess he just made his first appearance in, I believe, issue 1 or 2 of this series. So he hasn't been around that long.
Yeah. So started up talking about this guy. I'm like, I don't know who he is. So, but yeah, everything's gray to him apparently.
Yeah, I guess, well, we can explain who he is now, I guess.
Yeah, just jump in.
He's some mystical fella who was well, we get his backstory later. Maybe let's just save it.
Yeah, because I think they fill in, I looked up his backstory about halfway through the comic so I can understand, so I'm actually forgetting what the comic fills in and what I just read on Wikipedia.
Yeah, they actually do show it. But this first page, there shows someone died in a car wreck.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and the Gray Man, he's just an older gentleman with gray hair, and he wears a turtleneck, and a gray turtleneck, thick turtleneck, and a green overcoat. So, yeah.
Trying to think who he looks like, but I really can't come up with anything. So
yeah, I got nothing. But then the next page, Bob, we got a nice shot of Dr. Fate floating over his castle and the trees and whatnot. I like this picture.
Yeah, this is a fine splash page, actually.
Yeah, this is great. And who's the inker here? Al Gordon is the inker.
Yeah, I think he did a good job on this. This page looks nice.
Yeah,
so, this is Dr. Fate. He's, I guess, in Salem, Massachusetts. And I believe this is all the Gray Man talking about him. How Dr. Fate is looking for the Gray Man, I believe is what's going on. And the Gray Man hates Dr. Fate.
Yeah, the Gray Man is narrating, talking about how he hates Dr. Fate because he knows that Dr. Fate is going to be able to sense what he's doing, I think. Right? And
by touching a wall.
Well, no, Dr. Fate's about to go through, because that's his little house there, but no doors on the house. So he phases through the doors somehow because he's Dr. Fate. So he's putting his hand through the wall, about to go home, to take a nap. And, but then he's like, huh? He hears something mystically in his mind. And he says, uh-oh, I gots to go. But the narration is Gray Man, and he says he knows. And he's coming to punish me for my sins. So here comes Dr. Fate.
I didn't know this was Dr. Fate's castle. I just was he investigating something and all of a sudden he just changes his mind? Okay, that makes a little more sense now.
Yeah,
okay, well, it's a fine house. It's a brown
Although it's
castle.
kind of weird. It's a little bit like, remember Matt Lauer had that button under his desk in his office to shut the door so the ladies couldn't get out? It's a little like Dr. Fate.
A little bit, yeah. Phase them in and then they're stuck there, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. All right, anyway, get a cut to some news station here. And again, this is the Creeper, although neither one of us knew that when we read this book, but this is the Creeper as Jack Ryder's hot seat. He has a news show, and he's a gotcha journalist, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Guys.
He doesn't like the Justice League.
And apparently he works with Joe Piscopo from 1983. The guy comes up to him.
He does.
And he's like, hey, Jack Ryder. I'm Joe Piscopo. And I like that he's wearing a Late Night with David Letterman shirt.
Yeah, I noted that too.
But he basically tells Jack Ryder, hey, there's something going on over there in, what is it, Stone Ridge, Vermont, or whatever the fuck it's called?
Yeah.
People are falling over or something. I don't know what's going on. People are passing out.
Because apparently there's some other journalist was in that town doing some boring story, which seemed really convenient to me, but okay. I don't know, maybe that's filled in later or before. But why would anyone be in this town?
Oh, he says that Dr. Fate was spotted.
Yeah, because he said that one of the other journalists was doing some story there. And I was like, it's really convenient. But okay.
Yeah,
I let it go.
This Jack Ryder, as soon as he says Dr. Fate, the Justice League. Oh, because the Creeper's a reserve Justice League member.
What?
Yeah, maybe not this Justice League, but or maybe eventually he becomes one. Yeah, that's probably what it was. Because I'm reading this on Wikipedia.
Okay.
But apparently he's a reserve Justice League member.
Because his news report is how the new Justice League needs to be stopped. Like his whole report is about how bad the Justice League is.
So maybe they win him over.
All right.
They buy him some beers.
We'll have to read on to find out.
Now, this little assistant of his, man, he's a weird looking dude. Maybe a little carrot top in there too. I don't know what's going on. So Jack Ryder's going to go up to Vermont to investigate things. Now we cut back to the Gray Man, and he's chilling in I don't know what, his apartment or whatever. I don't know where
he's in an old theater, and I like this shot of him standing in the shadows of the window of the theater.
Yeah, and he's still talking,
cool Yeah, just lots of talking from this guy. Like the first 15 pages of this book are monologue.
Yeah, and he's just saying, oh yeah, lovely old theater, isn't it? Built back in the 1940s. Do you know what it's like to sit and look out on the sea day after day after day, year after year after year? I never sleep, I never dream, and it's all your fault. But I'm not a prisoner anymore, and I'm not a smiling slave who accepts the will of my betters without question. You and yours aren't in control anymore now. I'm in control. And he's yelling at Dr. Fate.
Yeah.
Dr. Fate is just floating there because it's a dramatic reveal.
It is a big dramatic reveal.
Yeah. Dr. Fate. Dr. Fate is a cool looking hero.
I mean, he is. I like his look a lot.
So now we get the backstory.
Yes.
Would you like to walk people through the backstory of
I can try. Let's see, what do they say in this? So,
he's basically some ancient magician fellow.
Yeah, because I guess he was trying to do some magic, and then the order of not chaos, or the
again, we're
here, right?
we're talking to the wrong guys. Though. We don't know anything about DC's mythos or anything, but apparently these guys like the orders, the Lord of Orders, or something.
The Lord of Order, yeah. So they're the good space. I don't know if they're like the Watchers, maybe. They seem to have they fear more than like the Watchers would.
Yeah, the Watchers just watch. The Order guys, they seem to think maybe like a living tribunal situation or one of them kind of deals.
Yeah,
I don't know. But this magician fellow, the Gray Man, he was trying to pierce like the layers of the universe, or to see back behind and like what's controlling the universe and reality. So he was trying to get up above, doing more than he was supposed to do. You know what I mean? Like, hey, don't look behind the curtain there, buddy. But he tried to. And so now they caught him, and then they sentenced him. Well, they didn't sentence him because they kind of.
Yeah, they said it was an honor to be given this role.
Yeah, the Gray Man is an honorary title where it's his job to harvest dream energy from people who are dying. That's why we see him in that first page where the guy died in a car wreck. He's there to harvest his dream energy, which I guess is a thing.
Yeah, sure.
And so they see this as a big reward for him. Like, oh, yeah, you know what? You're a plucky little magician. You tried to go look behind the curtain. Hey, you know what? You're pretty cool. So we're going to give this job to you. But he sees it as a prison sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, because he's immortal, and like you said, he doesn't dream. He doesn't seem to. Well, he's clearly got some emotions. He's got anger, but he seems mostly emotionless, and he just wanders the world collecting dream energy, which does sound like a shit job, if I'm being honest.
And he can't actually leave the theater, though, right? But he creates all these duplicates of himself.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of Jamie Madroxes out there.
Yes, exactly. I was a little sketchy on that. Like, how could they not see it as a prison sentence if they say you
locked him into this cathedral? Yeah,
you can't leave this room. But yeah, so he's got a bunch of little Jamie Madrox duplicates out there looking like him, harvesting the energy, and he just sits there at the theater. I don't know. Do you think he even watches movies?
It doesn't sound like it, because I mean, and obviously they're not like Jamie Madrox because he controls them. So he's basically, they don't seem to have their individual personalities until they do. But it sounds like he's basically in control of all of them. So he's basically just micromanaging all these bodies out in the world, which really does not sound like fun.
Yeah, except now he's pissed. So what he's going to do is he's going to send his people out there, and they're going to start stealing the energy of people who are even alive.
Mm-hmm.
And people are going to start dropping just because they're grabbing the energy out of them. So we see a little shot of that. One of his duplicates coming up behind a guy carrying some groceries. I don't know if I like that guy wearing those shorts.
No.
It's disturbing.
Yeah, it's not.
Put some pants on.
I do like, the shout out to Timothy Dalton and the Living Daylights in the background.
That's right. It's playing at the Rialto Theater.
Yeah. Kid's really excited about it.
Right next door to Romeo's Pizza.
Yeah, so, they put in a little background work. That's something. This actually from the guy in his short shorts.
So that's what's going on with the Gray Man and Dr. Fate. Now Dr. Fate's got to try and stop the Gray Man. Now we cut back to the Justice League. And they're in their headquarters. I don't know. It just says Justice League headquarters. I don't know where this is. It's in a mountain somewhere.
Yeah, I assume that, it's near a city, but who knows which ridiculous DC city this is.
I hope it's Ivy Town.
I don't see any water, so it must not be Coastal City. It doesn't look, it's not Gotham. It could be Metropolis, I guess, but Superman's not here. That's it. That's all the DC towns I know.
I should also mention that apparently one of the things this series was noted for was its humor.
Oh.
I didn't pick up on any of that.
It's noted for its humor, huh? Okay.
Did you pick up on any of that?
I did laugh when Batman took the shot at Shazam, I guess. So I guess there's a little bit of humor.
Hey, but look at this first picture here. We got Guy Gardner in his Mo Howard haircut, yelling at Batman. But look in the back there, Booster Gold sitting in that chair there.
Oh yeah, that he is sitting there. Okay.
There he is. He's in this book.
With his shocked face, the same shocked face that Shazam has, and like several people have in this book.
Yeah,
what?
Shazam has the exact same. Yeah.
So I guess this is a good assignment to bring up. Did you look into the formation of this Justice League at all? Because quite frankly, there's no reason for Guy Gardner to be here, and he's clearly a cancer within this team.
Yeah, I did not. I just noticed that they had to do something because they wanted to sell more books, and they're like they needed a team. That's what they're supposed. Yeah, none of these heroes belong together. Not a single goddamn one of them.
And that's all true, but even then, it's like okay, it's a Justice League, but like he's literally just a problem. Like nobody likes him. When Black Canary shows up, and we'll get there, like nobody likes him. Why is he here? Why do they let him be in the team at all?
Because they needed some of that comedy.
Needed that comedy. That makes sense.
So they can get people like making jokes about him and his haircut. But I just think this team is just so weird. Like Batman should not be on this team.
You can't have the Justice League without Batman. Well, you got to have either Batman, Superman, or Wonder Woman. You got to have one of them.
But that's the thing. I think that's counterintuitive though, because if you don't have all of them, you shouldn't have any of them. I don't think because it just cheapens him.
Yeah.
He doesn't elevate these other people. It just draws him down to their level.
That's very true. That's a really good point. It's like, it does feel like he's just hanging out with a bunch of slubs. It's not much better than if he were hanging out with the Teen Titans. It's like, why are you guys here? You're all.
Yeah, but if he's not there, then you give a space for someone else to elevate and become a guy or a lady. You know what I mean? Like a main person.
Yeah, like Blue Beetle.
Yeah. But if Batman's there, he overshadows everybody, and they're all just like his little lackeys and not his equals. And
Yeah.
I guess maybe that's what Guy Gardner's yelling about here. He's like, hey, I should be in charge.
Yeah, that's the whole, that's Guy Gardner's whole thing. He's like, I should be in charge here, and Batman's just like, no, I'm not going to do that. But he does have this great little quip. I'd sooner turn it over to Captain Marvel. And Captain Marvel's like, hey, what? I'm like, yeah, no, you suck. Why? You shouldn't be the leader of the Justice League either.
I guess we should remind people, Shazam here, Captain Marvel, he's a child, right?
Yeah.
We're just in a huge body.
Yeah, he's like a 14-year-old boy, and I think they covered he's only been doing this for, I'm assuming, since like shortly before this new Justice League started. So he is a very new hero. Like,
hey, what do you think's
assume
worse?
they just changed him. Yeah.
Guy Gardner's haircut or his boots? Do you see his boots? Like, what the hell? They're like,
let's scroll down. Oh my God, those are huge boots. I had not noticed the boots, but
like,
wow,
big old moon boots.
I mean, the haircut's still worse, but those boots are terrible.
Yeah, it's all rough. So Guy, he also has a turtleneck. I just noticed that as well. This Guy Gardner fella, he's all pissed at Batman, and he decides, I want to beat you up, Batman. But instead of doing it with my power ring, where I could just murder you easily because you're just a dope in a cape, I'm going to take the ring off and do it old school style. You know, I'm just going to punch you. And so
I'm just noticing this right now. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, he takes the ring off and gives it to Blue Beetle. If I'm Blue Beetle, I'm like, holy fuck, I'm Green Lantern now. You know, this is an upgrade.
But look at Blue Beetle. I think Blue Beetle just flicks the ring away. Like,
that's right, he does.
He just flips the ring. It's like, no, Blue Beetle, you suck. You could be Green Lantern.
You're Green Lantern, buddy. Cash that ticket. But no, he just throws the ring away. And so then Shazam's trying to be a peacemaker here. And Batman's like, no, don't worry about it. If he wants to come at me, let him come at me. So here comes Guy Gardner. He's going to throw a punch at him. And then Batman just hits him with a straight right. Bonk. Right in the nose.
Yeah, and I wondered for a second, I assume clearly this is supposed to be his fist, but for a moment I was like, is this like a bat fist? Because his arm's not there. It's just a fist.
That was a weird choice. Yeah, they show like his fist, and also his fist is very small. Like, that's a small fists.
Well, maybe Gardner's just got a huge head.
That could be, yeah. But Batman's hand, like we see a real solid hand, then it gets like, less solid as it goes back, and we get like three of them. And then, yeah, like you mentioned, there's no arm there at all. So I guess that implies like he snapped a jab real quick, like maybe.
Yeah, he's so fast. Yeah.
You don't even see it.
And a real powerful jab too.
Yeah, the one jab from Batman knocks Guy Gardner out. And knocks him cold. And Martian Manhunter, like Blue Beetle's laughing up a storm. Martian Manhunter and Black Canary show up. And Black Canary's upset because she didn't get to see it. She missed it.
Yeah.
She wanted to see someone punch him in the face.
She's so upset to see this guy get punched in the face. Like, clearly this guy should not be here. Nobody likes it. Blue Beetle's throwing his ring away. She's upset that she didn't see him get punched. It doesn't make any sense why he's even allowed in the room.
That's not what you want in a team dynamic.
Yeah.
Someone who you really wish we could punch that guy in the face. No. You don't want that on your team. Also, some other guy comes running in here. Is he the janitor? Like, I don't know who this guy is.
Is this Oberon?
Oh, yeah, that's his name. Yeah. Who is he? Do you know who he is?
I looked a little bit because Oberon is the name of one of our cats. So I had to look into who this character was. The cat is not named after this character.
I should hope not.
Happens to share the name. The Oberon is originally from a Shakespeare play, Midsummer Night's Dream. But this guy
there you go.
is just, I think he was Mr. Miracle's like butler guy. And so they've just kind of taken him on to be the butler, like assistant role in this thing.
Yeah, he's a little bald guy with gray hair and big like sideburns. But like gray hair around the sides of his head.
And he's like 3 feet tall.
So he looks a little bit like Murray Slaughter from the Mary Tyler Moore Show with bigger sideburns.
All right. That's a reference the kids will enjoy.
I like to put things in terms of classic TV shows.
Yeah.
So he says, hey, Batman, the telescreen there or whatever the fuck it is, it's talking. It needs you. So they go over. There's just a giant lips on this monitor.
Yes.
but this is Dr. Fate's magic. So instead of Dr. Fate, I don't know, just popping up on the screen and talking, he makes the monitor turn into giant lips.
Yes. And he's very brief. I want to touch on this because I did not understand this so much. So he says, "This is no joke, Batman. My time is short. Power is waning. Listen carefully while there's still time." They listen, and then the League must come, Batman. Stone Ridge, Vermont. No power. So I guess that the they listen and then part is where he fills in this massive amount of backstory about the Gray Man. Because when I started reading on, I was like, they seem to know a lot about this guy. Did Dr. Fate just fill them in while he was dying on this screen? And I assume that's what's happening here.
Yeah, like, I don't think this is Dr. Fate's lips. Like, this is
okay.
Like, I think he enchanted the monitor, so the monitor.
He enchanted the monitor. Oh, yes, because the lips are 3D.
Yes. Because when I first saw it, I'm like, what? So Dr. Fate's, no. Because, no, he made the screen have lips.
I
don't understand.
Does the screen normally have lips?
No, not at all. It's so weird.
Someone thought this was really clever.
But yeah, that's how they skipped all the backstory. That, like you said, there's just a little box at the top. They listen, and then, so from one panel to the next, they fill in all the backstory off screen.
Even though he's dying and short of breath and can't talk, he was able to give them a lot of exposition off screen.
So they got to go to Vermont there, and they figure it out. Well, Mr. Miracle does some stuff into the computers, and he says, "Hey, more bad news." And Batman says, "What? According to my calculations, taking into account the number of gray men, the computer projects that the total world population will be affected, let's see, 52 hours after initial contact. And that includes us." So then Batman says, 52 hours to save the world? Well, actually, that's until the last person on the Earth. So probably, at what point there's a tipping point where so many people have been affected, it's too late anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so maybe a couple hours. Yeah.
Also, like, according to how many gray men there are, like, did Dr. Fate have that number? And he also gave you that exact count? He's like, there are 487 gray men or whatever it is. The whole thing just, that exposition jump really, really annoyed me. So I'm just going to keep hammering it. Because they know a lot about gray man from that very brief conversation.
Yeah, there's a lot wrong here logically with this. Look, Booster Gold pops up again.
Oh, that's Booster Gold again. You're right.
You have?
I'm sorry, Booster Gold, for forgetting you were in this book. You're clearly there.
So Batman sends Shazam up ahead to say, "Hey, you go scout things. We'll catch up. But you can fly." So then they get in Blue Beetle's little ship there, which is stupid.
His awesome beetle.
So when Shazam arrives in Vermont, he finds Jack Ryder's van there, his news van. But Jack Ryder's gone. But like his cameraman, I guess it is, he's just passed out on the ground.
Yeah, apparently attacked by somebody.
The Gray Man.
Could it be? Yeah,
the Gray Man, because his eyes are gray.
Yeah. And then he dies.
Well, then Shazam picks him up and he flies off with him. Right? He's going to take him to a doctor or something.
Well, the guy's saying, "I'm going to die. So I just assumed he died, but maybe he didn't. Because, yeah, Shazam's flying him away, so maybe he's still alive.
So then we see that dopey Blue Beetle ship.
Jesus, why?
So dumb.
I don't understand why anybody thought this was a good idea.
Hey, look, there's Booster Gold again.
Oh, yeah, he's thinking this time.
Yeah, he's thinking, nice ship. Wonder how much it cost. He's pivotal to this.
Yeah, quality drop in there. And so like the next panel, Batman says, "Down there, bring her in, Beetle. Bring her in quietly. Don't want to alert anybody." In our massive blue Beetle flying through the sky, and it's huge because they're standing up. They're full on standing up and walking around. This thing is, I don't know, 800 square feet at least. I don't know. It's a large blue Beetle. That's what I'm saying.
It is a large Blue Beetle. That's exactly what it is.
It's not inconspicuous. It is, in fact, conspicuous.
It's the exact opposite. So they drop him off in the woods, and they get in the woods there. And what do they find there, Bob? They hear someone laughing, and they look up.
They find this well-known character of the Creeper just hanging out in a tree with, I can't tell, a gloss enamel paint in his hand. I guess he's been
Why?
painting things.
Why? Like what? I tried to figure that out. Why is he? What did he paint?
There is a when Shazam's flying the guy away. There's a billboard that something's painted on it. I think it says Party Town. Maybe that's what it's supposed to be over the McDonald's billboard sign. So I guess.
Okay. So he did that.
It's supposed to tie that together. I didn't until rereading this.
Can you tell me what the fuck's going on with how he's positioned body wise in that tree?
No, it doesn't make any, like his legs are sort of wrapped into a pretzel. I guess he's supposed to be holding on by a branch with his left arm, but it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I guess that branch, they miscolored it. Like maybe if that's brown there around, like the leg or on the outside, if that's a brown branch in the middle.
Okay, that could be.
Yeah, I think they just miscolored it.
That makes way more sense. Because you're looking at the anatomy doesn't make any sense here.
No, not at all. So it's the creeper. That's a nice little perspective shot, I guess, of the creeper there. The close up of the Batman's eye before that's pretty good.
Yeah, kind of things at a Dutch angle, which really just makes it more confusing what's going on when you miscolor the branch. But
Yeah. So then the next page, the creeper hops down, and Batman's like, some people don't know who he is, but Batman's like, hey, we've met. And he's like, hey, what's going on there, creeper? And he says, I saw your friend, Captain Marvelous. And he says, Marvel, where is he? He went into town, very bad move. He doesn't have the right mindset. What do you mean? You got to see it to believe it. Creeper, if you're up to something, I swear. And swearing, Batman. I blush at the mere hint of a 4-letter word. Oh, look, Booster Gold then says jerk.
It says, see, now I'm blushing. Okay, now you're right. There's comedy all over this thing. This is
hilarious.
Yeah.
So then there's a panel of Creeper. He's like making a dramatic motion with his hand, and he says, take a good look, boys and girls. Welcome to Stone Ridge. In the next panel, we see their horrified faces.
They're very stupid faces.
Okay, so at this point, before you turn the page, Bob, what did you think you were going to see?
I assumed blood and guts. Massive horror.
Chaos, buildings on fire, people like jumping out of windows.
Yeah, I was actually very excited to see what they did. Well, I shouldn't say very excited, but I was excited. Like, what's going to be on this page? Clearly something crazy is going on.
So you turn the page.
Boy, howdy.
And Creeper says, it's my kind of town. And he starts laughing, ha, 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 ha. And they're up on the hill and they're looking down at the town. How would you describe what they're looking at, Bob? How would you?
I guess the best way to put it is it looks like it's been, I guess, infested by some type of insect aliens. It's kind of Giger-esque, I should say. I don't know. Like all the little houses and stuff they're very insectoid is the best way I could put them. But I don't. Insectoid
that would be
is
a good description.
Well, yeah,
for
probably not.
Yeah, because there's one building that looks like a beehive kind of, and a couple other things. But I don't know, it just looks like a city with avant-garde architecture. It doesn't really. It's not frightening in any way.
It's not frightening.
Oh my God.
And it does seem like they still have power lines. I'm not sure what these blue cords are supposed to be, but they're still on the grid. It almost looks
like the Flintstones, how they got power. Like when I looked at this, I'm not horrified. Why are they so horrified? I don't get it. Why?
It's very strange, but yeah, it didn't make any sense at all. And I'm not curious enough to read on, but did the Creeper do this? Did the Gray Man do this? What would have done this?
I have no fucking idea. I think it's. Yeah, maybe the Creeper. I don't know. I don't think he's capable of doing it. I guess I assume the Gray Man did it.
But what?
I did look ahead because I wanted to see something. So I can't even remember what I wanted to see. But I flipped ahead next issue. But I didn't even look to what happened in the town. And I got to the end of the story. And basically the whole story is the Gray Man just beating up the Justice League. He's beating them all. All right. Because he just touches them and they fall over or whatever, So he's taking out the Justice League. And then at the end, Dr. Fate just says, hey, you know what, Gray Man, I've had enough. I've been taking it easy with you. Enough's enough. And he just ends it. And he just teleports them both to some mystical realm. It's like, hey, dipshit, why didn't you just do that right away?
That's the wrap-up of the story?
That's the wrap-up of the story. Why was this even a story then? Why didn't you just show up at his place and say, all right, that's it, we're going.
You had him in the theater where he told you what he was going to do.
Yes. But no, you get beat. You somehow take it easy on him to the point where you're losing power and he's beating you. Yet you have enough power to make some TV monitor have talking lips, and then it's like, and then you regale this whole story, explain it in minute detail so they understand what's going on and they can perform those calculations about when the world's going to end and everything because of Gray Man. But then you decide, you know what? Nah, that's enough. I'm just going to wrap this up. Fucking stupid, you know?
It's real dumb. Well, but they needed this amazing final splash page to really hook everybody in.
I don't. There's one other thing I wanted to mention here. At some point, I think when they're flying to the Vermont or whatever, or maybe it's right when they're about to leave, someone mentions Guy Gardner because he's still passed out on the floor. You know?
Yeah. They're like,
and Batman says, don't worry about it. He's going to be out for hours. That's not normal. All right.
No.
If you're knocked out from one jab for hours, that's severe brain trauma.
Yeah. Like and clearly Batman must do this a lot. One, that he knew he could do it, and two, he's going to knew they were going to be out for hours. He's been messing up a lot of just street thugs with this awful, awful punch.
Yeah, they should be very concerned with Guy Gardner right now. Like, he might be dead. You might want to check on Guy Gardner. You should not be out for hours from one jab to the face.
Yeah, and I don't know if the Green Lantern ring gives him. I mean, obviously it doesn't give him much protection, but I don't know if it would have given him any healing or anything. But he's not wearing that, so he doesn't have that either.
Yeah, Blue Beetle chucked it off into the gutter there in the waste paper basket or whatever. So yeah, this whole, I don't know. Bob, what'd you think of this Justice League?
Shockingly, I did not love it.
Yeah, this is, like we mentioned, this team is just awful.
Yeah, it's such a bad team. I guess they put it together because this is who they had, and they're like, well, we'll have some conflict and comedy, but it's real bad. Yeah,
I'm not a Justice League guy, you know, but at least the Justice League, you got heavy hitters. You know, you got the who's who of DC. It's like the Avengers, you know, the first Avengers. They brought all the big guys from their own books, brought them together for a team. And now this, I guess these people have their own books, but does anyone buy them? I don't know.
Someone did.
So
a few people.
This team is terrible. And like I said, Batman should not be on it. He should not be associating with these people. I mean, I hate Batman, but he's still way better than the rest of these chumps.
I would be interested to hear from like a Mike L type who loves DC. Like, when this happened and they put together this Justice League, were people happy about it? Were people like, what the hell is this? Because I can't imagine like a 10-year-old kid being like, oh my God, we've got Mr. Miracle and Blue Beetle and Booster Gold. This is amazing. Like, what kid wants to read this?
Yeah, it's a lot of, like you mentioned, a lot of talking.
Yeah.
There's no action except for that one jab to the face.
Literally one punch is the only action in the whole thing.
The Creeper, like we said, we didn't know who Jack Ryder was the Creeper, so we had no idea what the fuck any of that was.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is bad.
This was bad.
How'd you feel about Kevin Maguire's art? Because a lot of people, even Kevin Jenks, said he loved the art.
I didn't love the art. I mean, the art's fine. Like some of the panels I liked, but I certainly didn't love it. Like,
again, this is early Kevin Maguire as well, we should say. Like, you know, he's only been in the business a couple of years here at this point.
Okay.
So I guess he's over the years now, you know, 30 years later, he's considered one of the best of his genre or whatever.
I mean, Seth Meyers loves him.
Yeah, obviously. I guess he's known for very expressive faces, from what I read.
Well, I did notice the faces in this.
Yes.
I wouldn't call it good, but they do have expressions.
I don't like his style, though. It's a weird. It's kind of like his panel compositions. Although I think Geffen might be credited with the breakdowns here. So, but I like some of the shots, the angles, the cameras angles and shit. The compositions. But his style is kind of weird. It's like realistic, but it's also a little stiff, and like they're posing more than moving.
Yeah, it's a lot of posing, and like just the faces, because I guess I didn't realize that he was known for that, but most of the faces in this are bad. They're just dumb, stupid expressions. Like some of them are okay. Like I'm scrolling through and where Guy Gardner is about to punch Batman, it's like, okay, that's clearly a very angry face. There's a lot of expression there. But like the panel right above it, Batman's stupid face. It's like, and like Shazam's like scowl. Like what is, like this is, I mean, it's expressive. I'll give him that. You can tell what emotion all of these characters have, but I don't think they're good faces.
Yeah, it's not bad or anything. It's just not it's not what I like.
Yeah.
Style. I like more old school John Buscema, Gil Kane, that kind of stuff. Punchy action stuff,
Yeah.
But, cause I don't know, this is weird. Like I said, it's realistic but cartoony at the same time, so you almost get some like that uncanny valley shit happening where it's like they just don't look normal somehow. They look a little off a little bit, just a little bit. But
I can see why people like it. And like I said, some of the panels are good, but yeah, it took me out for the same reason. Like the faces are over expressive is really what it is. They're cartoony in this not cartoony book. I guess it is kind of cartoony, but they're just, yeah. I think I've made my point.
Would you ever read another one of these?
Oh my God, I hope not.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. This is a tough one to rate because the art is good, but just not my thing. So the writing, a lot of holes.
A lot of holes. Like the writing in this, I thought was pretty bad. Like
the payoff was terrible. Like that final shot of the
payoff
town
was really dumb.
What the fuck was that? I'm concerned for Guy Gardner's brain health.
Yeah.
I can't go higher than, wow, really, why would anyone read this? That's how he goes back.
Right? Like, I don't even know who this is for. Like, in 1987, who would want to sit down and read this book? Let alone now.
Because this is after Batman. We've seen him as the Dark Knight and everything, right? And this is like the
yeah, this would have been after that, yeah. I mean, this would have been after, like, year one was before this, right?
Like if this was a Justice League, like I like to put things in terms of wrestling as well. Like if this was Justice League NXT, like the developmental region for WWE. Like, all right, well, yeah, they're just finding their way, this team, but you can't have Batman in there,
Yeah.
So get him out of there, and just if you want to put a team together through these stumble bums and these goofballs, all right, that's fine. But yeah, this team is just a mishmash of things that don't go together. It's awful. Don't read it. So yeah. 2 out of 10. 2 out of 10.
Okay, so I'm looking this up just so we don't sound like total morons. So Killing Joke was 88.
Oh, 88.
But Batman Year One was 87. Dark Knight Returns was 86. So like that had already happened. In whatever universe, I don't know how but like there had been dark and gritty Batman before this nonsense. So this was all in that same era when he's in this goofy Justice League punching Guy Gardner in the face.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess Guy Gardner getting knocked out with one jab is cool and stuff. I guess if you really hate Guy Gardner, oh yeah, that's awesome. But I have no emotional attachment to Guy Gardner.
I can see like if they'd built him up as this awful heel character that everyone wanted to punch in the face, and he finally got it, then yeah, I guess I can see why that's good.
Yeah,
but yeah.
So what do you think? 1 out of 10, Bob?
I think you're right. I think a 2 is probably right. Yes. I mean, maybe you know what? I think that's harsh because the art, while it's not really for me, it's not that bad. So I might give it a 4. Actually, the story's terrible, but the art, at least people could enjoy the art.
But you know what? I was debating between a 2 and a 3. Since you just went 4, I'll leave it a 2. That way, it averages out to a 3.
There you go. One other thing I want to bring up, because I got down to the letters page, which I didn't read, but
yeah, I didn't read it either. Yeah.
Did you see the DC Comics address?
No, I did not.
They are DC Comics Inc. 666 Fifth Avenue.
The sign of the beast.
Right? Is that really their? I mean, clearly it is. They wouldn't print it if it was a fake address. So they're at 666.
That's weird. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Like that struck me as very odd. And yes.
There you go. All right. Well, we'll probably be back next week. We might do another one.
Yeah, I can show up. I don't really have much of a life.
We'll play it by ear. But hopefully Kevin Jank will be back soon.
Yeah, hopefully.
Our best to Jank. And if we do come back next week, the issue we will do is as a thank you to you, Bob, for filling in this week. I decided next week, from 1974, we will do a book called Adventures on Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, I love them apes.
Issue 2.
I mean, I can definitely do that. I can talk all about them Planet of the Apes, well, movies more than the books, but I can do that for you.
We'll see how it goes. But if we do an episode, that's what we'll do.
Yeah.
So thank you, Bob. Appreciate it. And then until next week, maybe, don't get any jank on you.